Morning guys, hope you're doing well. Neil at Italia Autos here. Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we have another auction purchase. I've bought this Mito, which is a 16 plate interior facelift, so it's got sat nav and the big screen inside it. But at the minute, I don't seem to think there's much wrong with it. So let's have a look over it and see what needs doing to it, or at least it's going to want a service anyway. So this car is a little bit dirty from being trailered home from Nottingham. We've got the lovely black multi-spoke alloy wheels. It's a 2016 plate. It's got the nice dark satin wing mirrors. Again, we've got 4 good tyres on it. Door handles still work on it. Everything else is all there. We've got a spoiler at the top of the back. Rear badge is good. The wheels look good to me. And the same on this side. Let's have a look under the bonnet and see what it's like. Literally just got back with this, so I don't know much about it. All I know is I think I may have paid too much for it compared to the prices of the Mitos for sale at the minute. But it's a rare, it's a twin air, and it's got everything it could possibly imagine. It has recently had a new radiator as well, so we need to check that over and make sure there's no coolant leak still on there. So it's all clean. Let's have a look at the oil. Reasonably clean. You can see down the back there it's had a new radiator fitted. Coolant level is still good. Brake fluid looks nice and clean. Onto the interior, other than a little bit of dirt from my feet marks what I've got in and out of it. Seems pretty clean. So we've got the sat-nav version of it. Engine starts nice and sounds nice. We've got a low fuel warning light on, but no other engine warning lights. It does have nav. There we go, and it does have a radio. So that all works. Got the DNA switch down here. It goes into DNA mode. So that all appears fine. Let's get it on the ramp and see what we can find underneath, if we can find anything. Hopefully we don't. This is going to be a nice short simple video. Got some nice mud and snow tyres on the front end. Front suspension looks fine, no rust inside the arches. So decent tyre on the back. It isn't a mud and snow tyre, but it is in decent condition. We are missing a little valve cap, but we'll try and get one of those to put on there. Rear valance is all good, no damage to it, no damage to the bumper. This tyre at the back here is probably the worst of the lot, but it does still have life left in it. Again, it's not a mud and snow tyre. Down the side of the car, we've got no damage. No stone chips or scratches. Yep, mud and snow tyre on the front with loads of tread left on it. Front suspension looks fine. So, not too bad. Let's get it up in the air and see what else needs doing. All I can see at the minute is a service and probably a tyre at the back there. We'll have a look and see what budget's in it, but it is perfectly legal still. So let's get it up and see. Rear of the brakes look okay. There's a tiny lip on them, but nothing to worry about. Drive shaft gaiters are all good. No leak from the suspension. This has been undersealed from what I can see. So we're not going to have any rust problems on this car. Rear subframe is fine. A little bit of rust spots coming through, but it is nearly a 10-year-old car and you will get that. Rear shockers and rear springs look fine. Rear brakes still look really good as well from what I can see at the back. So it's had a good coat of underseal on there, so that shouldn't cause any problems. Front subframe is in pretty good condition, a little bit of rust showing, but nothing that's going to cause any problems. Front wishbones have been replaced quite recently by the look of it, and I think I saw a receipt inside the car saying so. You can see a few new Jubilee clips in the new radiator at the back there. So that's all been changed. Exhaust looks pretty good. Normally these flexes here start to go, but that is all fine. Normal surface corrosion at the back here. And the back box looks pretty good as well. So, other than a service, this car doesn't need anything. It's fine. So the service book hasn't come with the car, but it does have some recent receipts, so as soon as I get it serviced, it's going to be bang up to date. It's a chain on the engine, so it doesn't need anything doing on there. That sounds nice and quiet. So I'm just going to crack on with the service then, and give it a wash and see how it comes up. So I've been giving this new Wolfbox turbofan to use, so I thought I'd get it out of the box and give the engine a little blow off and see how well it does. Feels like it's made of pretty decent quality stuff. It's held together quite nicely. You get 3 different ends to use different varied speeds of air to come out the end, and you get a charging cable, storage bag and a few other bits and bobs inside. A nice little battery charge detector on there as well. If you are interested in buying one of these, I will put all the details in the description of the video. All done. Just got to do a little bit of computer diagnostic and just reset the service light, but there was nothing to reveal in that, so it's not been included in the footage. So now let's just go and give it a little test drive. So we're now a day or so later since I've serviced it. Had a little bit of a think on what I'm going to do with the car now, and I've decided, as this vehicle only costs £20 a year to tax it, I'm going to tax it and give it a thorough test drive before I sell it. So I've just taxed it, I've put 20 quid of fuel in it. I'm now finished for the day, nice and early, because it is just before Christmas, so I am finishing a little bit early this week. So we're going to head up on the motorway and head home and see how it drives. So far we've done about a mile to the fuel station and no issues, so that is good. So yeah, it's, you know, these cars are aimed towards first-time drivers or city drivers or, you know, old people generally. Mainly the Mito Twin Air is headed towards iconic status for first-time drivers, so I would imagine this car is going to be going to a new driver at some point. But first of all, I'm going to enjoy 20 quid's worth of fuel in it and see what it drives like. Nice, you've got sat nav. My phone has paired to the Bluetooth perfectly fine. And got it in dynamic mode, and we'll see how it drives, but so far no issues. So I am missing that Fiat 500S I repaired a few months ago. I did actually put it on the road because it was taking ages to sell, and I was like, again, as that's only £20 to tax a year, I'll tax it and I'll drive it around for a bit because it's super economical. And literally as soon as I taxed it, filled it up with fuel, it's sold. So I was a little bit sad to see that go. And now I just found out this is only £20 a year tax, so I was like, let's give this a go. And as nice of a car it is, and it's comfortable, and it's a little bit bigger than the Fiat 500. The Fiat 500 has got bucket loads more character, but these do look nicer. So we can only give it a fair opinion on how it drives and how much I like it after I've driven it for a while. So my commute has changed from a 14-mile commute to home and back. It's now changed to just under a 50-mile commute home and back. So using some of my cars I own now are a little bit too uneconomical, or so I thought. The GTA, when I drove that to home a few times, was getting about 21 MPG, and I think it cost me 42 quid to do 130 miles, and I was like, that's a bit too thirsty. I'll be spending £100 and odd a week on fuel. So I've moved it to the Discovery, which I don't want to put tons of mileage on, because my mileage has gone from 8,000 miles a year to probably 12 to 14 now. So that means I'm going to get stung when it comes to handing the car back in about 2.5 years. So that left me with the Porsche to drive as a daily, and as much as I love driving it, it can be a bit thirsty. Don't know what that was. It can be a bit thirsty, so I did a economy run to work the other day, and I managed to get from home to work with an MPG average of 33 MPG, which I thought was blindingly good for a 2.5 turbo Porsche. So the economy in that isn't too bad. The Land Rover I was getting about 33 to 35, which is okay. It's not brilliant, but it's okay. So this is supposed to be able to do 68 MPG. So I'm going to tootle up the M54 now and see how good the MPG is in it. Because I've been sitting in traffic, I've reset the MPG before I set off. We're now showing 26.8 MPG, which is terrible for an engine with only 2 cylinders and less than 1 litre capacity. So we've got 6 gears, so let's use the 6th gear and tootle along the motorway at 55 miles an hour at the moment. There is a 60 limit in place, and let's see how much it goes up to. We're now at 28.4. So I think I need to invest in an economical car. What I don't know. Budget is going to be a bit tight at the minute, as I've just moved house. So I don't know what to get. So I'm giving this a go before I bring it up for sale. I've owned one years ago. When it first came out in 2010, in 2010 that hadn't long been out, and we purchased a Mito Cloverleaf in the same colour. We kept that now on 2 years, and we enjoyed that. I need to turn that off, whatever that bingity bongity is. More. No, don't know. We are just hitting the M54 now from the M6, and we are achieving 37.1 MPG. Woohoo! So I've got this recovery truck in front of me with a big transit van on the back of it, so I'm trying to draft it a little bit and see if we get the MPG up. We are now on 41.7 MPG. It's tending to be around 55 miles an hour at the moment. We're at about 2,300 RPM, so we should be in the right range to get a good MPG out of it. But this van in front keeps slower and faster, and it's not good, and now I've got to slow down to let somebody on the motorway, and yeah. So what am I thinking of it so far? It's okay. I don't think it's a car for me. It is purely geared towards first-time drivers, I'd say. And it's not as refined as the Porsche and the Land Rover. But it is a very nice car, and there is nothing wrong with it. Let's just crack on and join me in a minute when hopefully we can hit above 50 MPG. I'll tell you what I keep seeing on the road at the minute is the new BMW i5s. I think this in grey, I think the styling of them is really nice, and I just think that colour looks really nice, and I'm really tempted to go and have a look at a BMW i5. Can't afford one, but I want to go and have a look at one. But what else do you recommend then for a small economical car? Personally, I'd probably go for an electric car if I could afford the budget. Maybe a used Tesla Model 3. I wonder how much they are now. They're about 10 grand, I'd imagine, for a 6-7 year old Tesla. Gotta be, and you've still got to be able to get 200 miles plus range out of it still. What else is there on the road? A good few years ago, we had an Audi A1 1.6 diesel, and we did a run down to Newquay for the weekend in the caravan. and I was stupid and decided to do an MPG run, and we got, I think, 76 MPG out of it, drafting behind the lorry all the way down there and back. I can't think my mate who was following us was best pleased, but he managed to get really good MPG out of his Clio Cup, I think it was, but back then. And so yeah, maybe an Audi, so maybe an Audi A1 2 litre, something like that, 2 litre diesel. I think diesel probably is the way to go, because you get your torque with it, and I find it with this little 900cc engine, it is a little bit lacking torque. Incoming call from the wife, so back in a second. So we are at about 20 miles later. We are doing 54.6 MPG. Would have liked to think it was a little bit better than that, as I've been driving at snail's pace at 55 miles an hour behind this recovery wagon. We've just hit 54.5 so yeah, it's alright, it's pretty economical. I can't grumble at that. Would I want to be driving this every day? No, I wouldn't. It's a perfectly nice car. I'm going to be selling this, so I better be nice about it. Not lying about it. This is set up for a first-time driver or somebody who literally just tootles around town. It's a lovely car, drives well, cannot fault it at all. We've had no engine warning lights. Radio works fine. The hands-free kit works fine. We've got cruise control. You've got sat-nav. You've got aircon, electric windows, electric mirrors. It does everything you want it to do. Plus, these engines are relatively reliable. So we'll call that the end of the video here. And we won't call the end of. So we'll call that the end of filming for today. I'll take this back to work tomorrow, give it a wash, final show off of the car in the end of the video. So join me for that section next. So I'll tell you what, that's not actually a bad car. I've always been a bit of a sceptical person over the 2-cylinder twin air engine, because I've always think it's going to be underpowered. Yes, it doesn't sound the nicest, but when you actually try and give it some stick, it actually moves. It's a lot more powerful than the 1.2, the older version, and the 1.4 engine in the 500s, in the Mitos and the Grande Puntos. So, you know, if you can put up with the 2-cylinder noise from the engine, they actually do shift, and they're not a bad car for somebody's first car, because they do get up some decent speeds as long as you're behaving yourself and being road legal. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this short video. Unfortunately, there wasn't much to repair on this one, but that's the luck of the draw. But it is going up for sale now. I'll put it on Facebook. It's going to be £4,500, which I think is very reasonable. Similar cars of this age and year and mileage going for like £5,500. So £4,500 is a very good price indeed. If you do want any more details on it, I'll leave my phone number in the description below. You can text, WhatsApp or email, or even call me. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.